Hashtag the ENTJ Commander, master of strategy and momentum. Imagine waking up each morning with a crystal clear vision of where you're headed. For you, the world isn't a mystery to solve. It's a challenge to conquer. You see systems everywhere, in business, in relationships, in how society works. And more importantly, you see how to improve them. You have plans within plans, backup strategies already running in your mind. People either follow your lead or get in your way, and honestly, you're not sure which frustrates you more. You're the ENTJ, and your mind is built for one thing: commanding reality into shape. Let's talk about what makes the ENTJ tick. If you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs framework, built on Carl Jung's theory of psychological type, the ENTJ emerges from a particular combination of preferences: extroversion, intuition, thinking, and judging. Think of this as a personality lens, not a truth about who you are. These frameworks are tools for self-reflection, not diagnoses. The core motivation driving the ENTJ is rooted in competence and control. ENTJs are fundamentally motivated by the desire to master their environment, to lead effectively, and to build systems that work. They're strategic thinkers who naturally see the big picture while simultaneously tracking the small moves required to get there. Their deepest satisfaction comes from seeing a plan executed flawlessly, from taking charge in chaos and creating order. But here's the flip side of that coin. The ENTJ's deepest fear is incompetence, whether their own or the incompetence of those around them. They dread the feeling of being vulnerable, of not knowing what's coming next, of losing control. This fear often drives them to over-prepare, to become hypercritical, and to struggle with delegation because they believe nobody will do it as well as they would. Now, let's explore the genuine strengths that make ENTJs such formidable forces in the world. First, strategic vision. ENTJs don't just think about what's happening now. They're obsessed with what's coming next. They naturally synthesize information into long-term blueprints. An ENTJ entrepreneur might sketch out a 5-year business expansion while everyone else is still focused on quarterly metrics. An ENTJ parent thinks about how today's parenting choices shape who their child becomes as an adult. This isn't recklessness. It's the ability to hold multiple timelines in mind simultaneously and make decisions that serve the future self, not just the immediate self. Second, decisive execution. Once an ENTJ commits to a direction, they move with remarkable focus and momentum. They don't get stuck in analysis paralysis or emotional second-guessing. They gather the data they need, make the call, and execute. This is invaluable in crisis situations, in scaling organizations, or in any context where someone needs to cut through ambiguity and move forward. Where others might waver, the ENTJ provides the steady hand on the wheel. Third, natural leadership and mobilization. ENTJs don't typically wait to be chosen as leaders. They step into leadership almost instinctively. They're genuinely interested in organizing other people's talents toward a common goal. They're often skilled at spotting talent, assigning roles strategically, and creating accountability structures. They see people as resources with potential, which can be inspiring if channeled well. An ENTJ mentor can absolutely transform someone's career trajectory because they're willing to push you beyond what you think you're capable of. But let's be honest about the shadow side of the ENTJ personality, the places where these strengths can become liabilities. The first shadow is ruthlessness. That strategic objectivity that makes ENTJs great at business decisions can make them cold in relationships. They can steamroll over people's feelings in pursuit of an objective. They might not pause to ask how a decision impacts someone emotionally. They can seem callous or dismissive, particularly to feeling types who value harmony. An ENTJ might end a friendship that no longer serves their goals without fully recognizing the pain that causes, or they might reorganize a team purely for efficiency without acknowledging the emotional disruption. The second shadow is arrogance and closed-mindedness. When ENTJs believe they've figured out the best way forward, they can become surprisingly rigid. They stop listening because they're convinced they already know the answer. This is particularly dangerous because ENTJs are often smart enough to have been right frequently enough that their confidence feels justified. But markets shift, people change, contexts evolve, and an ENTJ locked into a position can miss crucial information. They can alienate people who might offer valuable perspectives simply because those people don't have authority in the ENTJ's hierarchy of respect. The third shadow is burnout through relentless drive. ENTJs don't have an off switch. There's always another goal to pursue, another system to optimize, another mountain to climb. They can burn themselves out and then judge themselves harshly for the burnout, seeing it as weakness. They struggle with rest because rest feels like stagnation. This often leads to health problems, relationship disconnection, and the ironic outcome where their relentless drive toward achievement actually undermines their long-term success. So how does an ENTJ grow? How do they channel their genuine strengths while softening the shadow sides? First, practice strategic patience.